don't know if there's a lot I can really say about this episode of Bleach. One, it was very good. And two, about what, 75, 80% of the episode was new, fabricated, not in the manga. So of course that's great because, you know, for those that don't realize, when you adapt a manga to video form, you can fly through a lot of chapters very quickly. What you want to do is kind of add some, you know, some more depth to what is happening. So let's go into the differences first before we actually get into like the meat and bones of the whole episode. Now, first things first, you saw before the previous panel, I was showing how all of the Stern Raiders were on the little, as they say, the Gate of the Sun, basically a teleporting device. That was mentioned off screen in the manga. In the manga, it basically showed Jugram talking to an advisor, and it mentioned to him that, hey, all the other Stern Raiders left to go fight the enemy. And dude was like, even Uryu? And he's like, yeah, Uryu went as well, of course. And Jugram was basically talking about how he's like, we gotta watch Uryu and see what he's doing. Then more stuff happened as far as the manga is concerned, which is another thing that they kind of skipped over. Like, this episode skipped like chapters of the manga. Not to have any spoilers, but those chapters, I believe, are going to be talked about in the future because they were ones that talked about Bosby, which we saw him in this episode trying to go after Yuawa. Right now, though, it is all about Uryu and Renji, which are two that I definitely did not think would come to blows, but I did worry or wonder why in the world was Renji on the theme song. Like, if you look at the theme song, when we went over it, I was wondering why it showed Renji like at two different times and why it looked like he had despair on his face. I don't remember that ever happening in the manga that would be an issue like that. Well, it's because of this episode, and we can see why Renji had despair on his face because, you know, you don't necessarily want to fight against somebody that is your ally. But yet again, Uryu's being watched by Jugram. Here he is in the corner, sees Uryu go into his the Quincy Bankai form, and he's just watching over him like, It's like, even from that far away, he's still watching over Uryu. And it's like, okay, all right, why are you watching over him? He's not going to do anything that's going to be a problem. So why this fight happened in the first place? I honestly don't know because it wasn't in the manga, so I can't really give you an answer, a definitive answer, although there are some clues that we can kind of gather. Now, before we get into the fight itself, I almost forgot to mention about this part, the whole sniping. Now, the sniping that happened from the, you know, sniper Storm Raider, honestly, in the manga, it did happen. He only sniped one person, though, and then it kind of cut away to some other people. So they definitely extended this scene to where he's just on a sniping spree, just taking all these characters down one at a time. And it's like, dude, come on now, you can stop now. You know, these characters that we have seen, that whether or not they've made jokes here in the past, you know, they may not be the main characters, but you don't just have to kill them all, just sniping every single one of them. Now, granted, it wouldn't surprise me if Orihime runs past a lot of these and starts healing them, so thus they could just kind of go willy-nilly doing like fatal shots to everybody, because it doesn't matter, Orihime is just going to heal everybody. But I don't know if that's going to be true or not, because it definitely wasn't something that we had seen at all in the manga for those that have read it. So I'm just like everybody else going to sit back, relax, and be like, okay, what are they going to do? Is it going to be an Orihime thing, or are they just like, we don't need these characters, so just write them off? Now, here with the battle with Uryu and Renji, one of the things that Uryu said like at the very end is that he despises Renji. And it's like, really? It's like, one of the things that's when he gets this fatal shot, which this whole glowing aspect, like the glowing center mass that he does here, is like, what is that power? That's not something that's been shown or talked about at all. So I wonder if it's like Uryu sees like how to, not necessarily kill, but maybe incapacitate his opponent. Like if he hits it somewhere in that region, it looks like it's a fatal shot, but technically it won't kill them, because it definitely was something how Uryu knows he's being watched, so he's gotta give a good performance to be like, okay, I gotta show, like I really care. But then part of it is Uryu really actually fighting for real, and part of it's like, what's going on here, Uryu? What are you trying to do? So I will say, in comparison to the manga, they have really added a lot of scenes with Uryu versus characters that he's been allied with this whole time in Bleach. So to what end is the thing, because in the manga, it definitely did not have a lot of that, did not show a lot of fights with Uryu actually trying or attempting to kill people. And it was like, okay, it was no big deal. But now in the show, it's like, wait, hold up. This is a whole new dimension that they are trying to showcase with Uryu, that he really is siding with you a lot. Wow, okay, there's a lot to it. Now, granted, it could be something where in the future you're just like, yeah, I just did this for show, and yeah, all those fatal shots were actually not fatal. They just kind of just adjusted your spiritual pressure, but not you, your body. I don't know, we'll see what happens, but Uryu himself, the fact that he said he despises Renji most of all, makes me believe, like, is he jealous of Ichigo's relationship with him? Like, Uryu was like one of the first few people that Ichigo had met, like way back in the first few episodes of Bleach. And, they had like kind of like Goku versus Piccolo, where they were kind of quote unquote enemies, but then they become best friends. And that happens a lot here in Bleach, in the same case of Renji, where they were quote unquote enemies and then Ichigo beats them and they become allies. So it's like, Uryu and Renji didn't really have a lot of interaction together, so they've kind of made the interaction in this episode, and it's like, why do you despise them? I don't know, because, hey, I'm kind of with you guys. They gotta explain in the future. Regardless, as far as the episode is concerned, it was pretty straightforward. Whether or not is Renji dead for real? I don't think so. I mean, whether it's gonna be a Urahime thing, or if it looked like a fatal shot, but it wasn't. Overall, we'll just have to see what develops, because this episode definitely gave a lot more questions than answers, more than anything else. And we just got to sit back, watch the future episodes, and then we'll get the resolutions we've been looking for. But tell me what you guys think in the comments down below, because this definitely was something that was like, well, that's weird, but okay. But, hey, still a great episode. But make sure you guys like the video, and if you like what we're doing here, make sure you guys do subscribe for more, because we'll definitely be discussing this and other anime here on the channel. The Patreon is there in the link down below if you want to take a look at the reaction that we have done in the meantime. You guys be safe, take care, and Lord willing, I will see you next time. Bye for now.
This ain't what you want, bitch, I'm a fucking phenomenon.